Today we're going to be talking about mastering confidence, and we're going to start by breaking down, start and finish, by breaking down each section of it through what I call the most important psychological cycle you will ever need to know. This alone will allow you to break limiting beliefs, master confidence, master energy, respect yourself and value yourself to a level you never have experienced. And throughout that whole cycle, take action on everything in your life that you want to do, whether that's girls, business, money, family. I don't know what you want to do. Whatever it is you've been wanting to do, whatever it is you've been sitting on your ass waiting to do, when you understand this and implement it, you're going to be able to do all of them things piss easy. And it starts here with understanding. So we're going to break down the cycle of confidence and get us to a stage where we have full and psychological freedom and full clarity and confidence of who we want to be and what, most importantly, what we want to do. And it starts, as I say, with understanding. So the understanding process is often the most difficult to some people because it requires a lot of harsh truths, a lot of honesty, a lot of transparency that some of us don't like to comprehend. We must understand what we want to achieve, how we want to achieve it, but very importantly, where we are in comparison to what we want to achieve and how we want to achieve it. Because if we want to achieve A, B, and C, but we're only here, we're at the bottom, we're at the scum pile, we're just crabs in a bucket at these points, then we need to actually comprehend that. And once we've understood that, which often consists of doing exercises like looking at yourself in the mirror, telling yourself the truth about how good you are, how much work you're doing, are you in shape, are you even physically fit, are you working hard enough to achieve what you actually say you deserve and want to achieve. So that understanding phase is a lot of you looking yourself in the mirror and being completely transparent and honest with yourself. And when you can understand who you are at the moment and then what you stand for, you can understand the action you want to take. From this understanding, you will see what you need to do because you essentially tell yourself everything you're not doing. So from that, you have now in your head everything you want to do, everything you want to achieve. But before we get to a massively integral point of taking action, we must destroy our limiting beliefs. This is the fear. The bad words, the can't, the won't, that can't be bothered in our head that live here because of the repeated education we've been fed and normalized in our lives. So these limiting beliefs must be destroyed before we start to take action, because otherwise you're going to have a very difficult job taking action, because every time you come across a hurdle, you're going to tell yourself you don't want to do it anymore, you want to stop, you're going to feel sorry for yourself, you're going to self-sympathize, you're going to have a victim mentality. So we need to break all of that in the limiting belief system, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to change the vocabulary we use from I can't to I will find a fucking way to. From I won't to even if I know I'm going to fail, I'm going to do it anyway. And the way these two interlink massively is where the word fear comes around. Because a lot of the reason we won't do things and a lot of the reason we refuse to do things is because of fear and how we let fear dictate our life. So through destroying limiting beliefs, we're also going to destroy the fear in our brain. And through the understanding, we're going to understand that it is fear and that we do have fear of certain things, even if it's not a direct correlation. For example, your fear of going to approach girls isn't because you're scared of girls, it's because you're scared of rejection. And that can come from many, many places. But once we actually understand that, and allow it to make sense in our head, then destroy them limiting beliefs, we are now in a place where we are ready to take action. Action, action, action. It has 3 freaking times written on it because it is so integral that all of these words and fancy cycles and big vocabulary, it doesn't matter if we are not prepared and ready to take serious and consistent action. But first and foremost, this type of action is what I like to call one foot in front of the other. Which means if we are moving in a forward direction, if we are actively doing something, it's always better than actively doing nothing. Which is what most of you are probably doing right now in this situation in your life. So this action is, I want to do something. I've destroyed these limiting beliefs. I want to do something. Fuck it. It has to be a fuck it attitude. Just do it. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? Am I going to die? Probably not. So let's just do it. The horrible YOLO attitude to have. That's where we need to apply this. Because whether YOLO or not YOLO, you're here on this planet once. Action, action, action is the way to fulfill that. The way to understand your capabilities, who you truly are. And from action, from repeatedly taking action, we're actually going to gain one of my favorite and hidden words or phrases in this industry, in the cycle of confidence, which is self-trust. Because for me, self-trust takes up a huge aspect of what self-confidence actually is. Because when you're able to trust yourself, you're able to take action much easier with that level of confidence that we are all desiring. But the self-trust comes from when we take action based off of our understanding and our limiting beliefs, and then our word. Giving our word to ourselves and keeping our word, keeping our promises, telling yourself you're going to do something and doing it. And that is what action is. Action is putting that word into reality, putting that word into a force. And when we do that so consistently, we regain our level of self-trust. We put our shoulders back, we look at ourselves and go, yeah. And then we have a situation where when we're making plans in our head, we trust ourselves to do it. So now we're doing it with a bit more confidence and a bit less pressure. So you see how this cycle's forming now very, very intelligently, very intellectually, but also very simply when you break it down and start taking it or implementing it into your lives. So now we have self-trust, which has been circled in pink for a reason you will later find out, or if you're intelligent, you probably would have guessed already. After we have self-trust, we have slightly more regimented action. We start utilizing discipline within our action. Our action is no longer YOLO, no longer one foot in front of the other. Our action now is, I know what I need to do to achieve what I want to achieve, so I'm going to do it consistently. With discipline, with intelligence, with a better understanding, with a greater understanding of what's happening. So that's why I put regimented action in. Now we trust ourselves. So it's not all of this crazy energy just being put into whatever we want, even though I don't mind that. I'd rather that than sitting at home and doing nothing. But now we're regimented about it, now we trust ourselves. And when we take regimented action, when the discipline kicks in, and when we're able to take constant action on these things, not only do we gain self-respect, which is a huge word in our levels of confidence, not only do we gain self-respect, but our physical and psychological value actually increases as well. So now our value as a person is higher. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to separate these and circle them. Because value and self-respect both go there. When we take regimented action, 99% of these actions are going to be improving us as a person. What do I mean by that? I mean, even if we're failing, we're gaining experience. We're gaining wisdom. These things are all feeding our confidence. But also, we're probably getting better, getting fitter, getting more intelligent, which allows us to make more money, which allows us to be stronger, which allows us to be fitter, which allows us to be more articulate. And all these things are independently building up our value and coming together collectively to boost our value in substantial manner. So now we have a high value. And of course, as we have a high value, we respect ourselves more because we understand, yo, I did this. I made it here. I got here. I've put the work in because we understand all of this as well that we've done. So because we've gone on the journey and we haven't found a cheat code for it, because there is no cheat code for it, now we trust ourselves. We've been able to take more regimented action. And we respect ourselves because of this cycle and process. Our value is doing its own thing. That's going up because of everything else. That's a side effect of everything else happening. But now we respect ourselves. The shoulders go back. And when you have that level of self-respect, you start asking yourself, wait a minute, do I deserve this kind of level of communication? Do I deserve to be spoken to like that? Do I deserve to be humanized? Instead of being spoken to like shit, do I allow people to step on my toes? Most importantly, do I not keep my word to myself? Because that's a huge way of disrespecting yourself, of losing self-respect. So when you respect yourself more, you're more entitled to look at yourself in the mirror with the attitude of, yo, if I tell myself I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. Because I owe that to myself at least, at bare minimum, for everything I've gone through. That's what I owe myself, to keep my word to myself and never lie to myself. And the reason I now will tell you that I've circled all the pink ones is because the pinks are what directly correlates to, I don't even know if you can see it if it's light enough on screen, to our confidence. So we said the cycle of confidence, and the word confidence in itself is just a byproduct of this cycle happening, hence why it's actually outside the cycle. And I've circled self-trust, self-respect and value coming together collectively to boost our level of confidence. And you know the best thing about this whole cycle is, what does a boosted level of confidence mean? What does it allow you to do more of? Action, action, action. Because when you are confident, you take action with less fear, with less stress of what could go wrong, and more optimism of what could go right. And more optimism that even if you fail, you will be all right. And that's a huge thing where self-trust kicks in as well. Trusting yourself more than anything to fail. Not even trusting yourself to be perfect or get everything right, but actually trusting yourself to fail, get up, learn, and go again. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the cycle of confidence, and that is exactly how you're going to implement it in your life and build your levels of confidence, so you no longer let fear control your life and your destiny, and take control through this cycle and start to take action and implement on an everyday basis. Woohoo!